I've been doing traditional strength training for over 2 years and Pilates for a little over a year now. Both have very distinctly different perks and both make me feel really awesome in different ways. But after doing both of these for a while now, I have definitely seen that one makes me look and feel a lot more fit than the other. Today I'm sharing my experience as well as the benefits and downsides of weights versus Pilates. I'll also be sharing which one I'm going to keep on doing to look and feel my best. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance. On my channel, I share the science-backed and delicious information to help you achieve your weight loss and wellness dreams without counting calories. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Today's video is also sponsored by Element, but more on them in a bit. Okay, so starting off with weight training, because that is the one that I've done by far the longest. We first need to understand what weight training is, because it can be a lot of different things. You can have classes, you can do it yourself. It can be something more intense like CrossFit, F45, or it could be like using bands at your house or using free YouTube videos. The way I'm defining this 2-year period is traditional strength training. So doing things at the squat rack where you're doing like squats and traditional deadlifts and lifts and presses, the movements and workouts that are really focused on progressively increasing strength over time. Now, I've been doing some type of strength training in some form since I was 18 years old. I'm now 33, so it's a long time. My first real job was actually working at a popular online fitness website. So I have an extensive background in home workouts, gym workouts, bands, lightweight, all of that. But after my first pregnancy, I really focused on using traditional strength training. It wasn't really on my radar before because I thought of it as like unnecessary or didn't apply to me. I thought it was really for just like the gym bros that I used to see at University of Arizona when I went to school there. And also I was a little scared to go into that like realm of exercise because it can look pretty intimidating to go up to like this big squat rack with these other like really fit big dudes. And then I'm just like lifting this one little bar without any weights trying to figure out what I'm doing. So when I first started to go, in order to help me get over that initial anxiety of doing weight training, I brought my dad because my dad's chiropractor. He's also an athletic trainer. He was able to show me the proper form and how to use these different traditional strength training workouts. I felt a lot more confident in what I was doing so that I could then go to the gym by myself and do these workouts. I would create my own workouts. I also used apps like the Sweat app, and I did online programs like the MAPS Anabolic. But across the board, the biggest difference is I was lifting a lot heavier weights and I was focused on progressive overload training. And these workouts were a lot more structured and not disorganized the way that my previous workouts were. So as a result, I was actually seeing results pretty quickly. I was quickly able to add weight onto the bar and start lifting a lot heavier. I was seeing that my body just looked so much more toned. I felt so much more strong. So all of this was really encouraging, which brings me to the actual benefits of weight training, like this traditional weight training. You do, and I certainly did, feel way more strong and capable. When you feel physically strong, like where you feel as if you could capably lift something heavy, it does something to your self-confidence too. It's like, wow, I can do all of these things by myself. I can easily take my luggage and put it up above my seat in the airport. It gave me a sense of feeling independent because I felt physically independent. It also helped that I could carry my toddler while also doing activities like pushing a shopping cart. It just made everyday life a lot more practical. And from what research is showing, this type of strength training is amazing for our health, helps to reduce our cardiovascular disease risk, helps to improve our cognitive and mental health, so much better for our bone health and aging, and really amazing for blood sugar control and helping to prevent type 2 diabetes. The third benefit is that you can go at your own pace because the whole idea is that you are steadily increasing strength over time and not trying to fit your goals into the specific structure of a class. And for that matter, you don't have to schedule a class. You just go to the gym whenever you're able to, pop in your headphones, and you start working out. The fourth benefit is that it's really not expensive. You just need a pretty standard gym in order to do these types of workouts. My gym literally costs $19 a month. In fact, I actually have the lifetime membership that costs, I think, like $350. And now I have like lifetime access and has everything I need to get amazing results. Fifth benefit is that it is adaptive. It can be mobility, it can be strength, it can even be balancing out certain body parts. So if like one side of your body is stronger than the other, then you can use specific types of strength training or traditional weight training in order to balance that out. That is if you know what you're doing or if you have a good trainer. Now, there are some downsides as well to weight training because it is so adaptive. You do really have to monitor your own progress, again, unless you have a really good trainer, because the whole point of this type of training is that you're constantly challenging your body a little bit more and more, whether it be be with changing up the style of the training or adding on more weight. So you need to know when and how to properly push yourself in order to keep seeing better and better results. The second kind of downside is that you need to be really self-motivated because you are going to the gym and because you do have to continuously adjust your workouts and continuously push yourself. You have to be motivated to do so, which leads me to the third downside is that you do need to have proper form. Bad form becomes so much more evident when you're lifting heavier weights. You can kind of almost get by sometimes with bad form when the weights are a lot lower, although eventually it will catch up to you. But bad form will quickly cause issues for you with traditional strength training. And the fourth downside is that you do need a good program. So either having a trainer that is putting it together for you, or if you are knowledgeable on the topic and you can put it together. There are a lot of great online ones. I'll put some of my favorites down below, but you do really have to sift through the good and the bad. Now, especially when you're exercising and pushing yourself with those exercises, making sure that you're properly hydrated is very important for recovery, which is why I love today's sponsor, Element. Element is an amazing electrolyte company that was specifically created with intermittent fasting, low carb eating, and athletes in mind. It actually contains the sodium, magnesium, and potassium to help balance electrolyte levels, all without having any sugar. These electrolytes are so important for having that best performance with exercise, but also for feeling energized throughout the day. I personally never miss my Element. I've been taking it every day for like over 4 years now. And it's great because Element makes it so easy to remember taking my electrolytes because it tastes so dang good. My all-time favorite flavor has been their grapefruit salt, but I also really love the lemonade salt. It was their limited release this last summer, but people like myself have been so obsessed with it that they brought it back into their new circulation. So I highly recommend that one. If you've not tried it, the lemonade salt really lives up to the hype. But Element also comes in a lot of other delicious flavors too, like their orange, citrus, raspberry, and even chocolate for a warm option. And you can get a free 8-count sample pack of Element's most popular drink mix flavors with any purchase at drinkelement.com/autumn. Find your favorite Element flavor or share it with a friend. It is only available through my link, so make sure to check out drinklmnt.com/autumn. The link is also in the description down below. Okay, so now let's talk about Pilates. This has been more recent addition for me. I've been using it for about the last year or a little over a year now. If you aren't familiar with it, it's a specific type of exercise that's really focused on improving strength, flexibility, and posture. A lot of PTs will use it for recovery, and there are different types of Pilates. Like you can just do it on a mat. You can do like the wall Pilates, but then there's also reformer Pilates where you use a specific type of machine called a reformer. And even within that category, there are different types. They range from really not intense at all to pretty intense. The one that I've been using is called Legree or like Legree style, and it's much more focused on strength. I first started Pilates when I got pregnant with my second baby, Jack, last year, and I'm not usually a class person. I do not like classes. I like going to the gym and doing my own thing. And honestly, I wasn't a fan at first when I first started Pilates because it was very focused on core, and my core is notoriously weak. So it was pretty hard and miserable. I also felt awkward at first because the machine can be a little complicated if you are new to it. There's just a lot of different like pulleys and bars. There's also the different springs. So just familiarizing myself with it, I felt like such a newbie that it made me feel awkward. But after a couple of times of doing Pilates, I started to really enjoy it because it did force me to do things I would not normally do. I love my traditional strength training where I do things like squats and presses, but core is something I hate. I hate doing it. And there's a huge core emphasis with Pilates. The first 10 minutes is their core warm up, which is not a warm up at all. Pretty much for like 10 minutes straight, you're doing some form of plank. There's this one where it's called a bear where you're doing a plank and then you drag your feet in and then push it out really slowly. It is like killer. It really has forced me to push myself past my comfort zone when it comes to core. But then on top of that, there's also just like a completely different style of training for like upper and lower body, especially lower body, that has been really fun with Pilates because there's this huge element of balance. Like you are doing these lunges on top of this moving machine with springs, and it's kind of fun. But let's get into the benefits of Pilates. First of all, you do get a lot of similar benefits as traditional strength training because it is a form of strength training. It's just not really like as focused on increasing your strength, at least to the degree of like regular weight training. So you still get the blood sugar balancing benefits. You still get a lot of the benefits that you would just get from lifting weights, but in a way that's less intense on joints. So especially if you have issues with your joints, this is a lot easier on your joints. It's also so much harder than it looks. Like this looks like it's very easy. It's not. I will tell you that. It is not. I've had my husband do this. I've done it a lot. I thought I was really fit and like strong, and this kicks my butt. It kicks my husband's butt. It's hard. It's really great for improving balance. It's really great for improving core, but there are downsides. The first is probably the biggest, and it's that it's very expensive. Like Pilates is very expensive. For me to do 3 times per week, it costs about like $280 a month. So that was an expensive experiment. The second issue is that it's not really tailored to your goals. So the Pilates class I do, they do coach to different levels. They will tell you how to make adjustments if you're new or if you're like intermediate or if you're advanced. But there really are limits to how much you can tailor it or even like what you want to specifically focus on, especially because there's a limit to how much weight you can put on. So the weight is controlled by these springs and they can get pretty heavy, but there is obviously a limit on how many springs there are. The last major downside is that you do have to pre-book classes. And I'm sure this is the same for pretty much anything that has a class, but because there are only usually about like 10 to 12 reformers in a class, they can waitlist pretty early. So you have to book your classes in advance. And there's usually a 24-hour cancellation fee, which I totally get from a business perspective. But for me, this has been difficult because especially with having a 5-month-old baby who doesn't always sleep well through the night, I have to go to a class that I booked, even if I just got wrecked horrible sleep that night, because otherwise I'd still be paying for it. And at like $30 a class, you're just not going to skip it. Okay, so here are my results and what I'm going to keep doing. My main goal with Pilates was to really increase my core strength post-pregnancy. I have definitely gotten stronger, so that's been a plus, especially with the last 2 months of only doing Pilates. I have noticed that I've gotten a lot stronger in my core. It hasn't quite stitched back together my core post-pregnancy the way that I had wanted to. I think there's more specific like PT things that I need to do for that, but that's not really Pilates' fault per se. It's just more of like a specific problem for me or a specific focus for me. That being said, there's no denying which type of workout makes me feel so much more fit, and it has to be traditional weight training. By far, the old school, pretty cheap option of working out has shown me the best results. I felt way stronger. I looked way more toned. I felt physically so much more fit. So here is what I plan on doing from here on out. I do actually really like doing Pilates. It does force me to do core, and I have to be honest with myself. I know that I will not do core in the same way if I am just left to my own devices. So I'm not going to be doing Pilates 3 times per week, but I will be doing it probably 1 time per week as a way to supplement my traditional weight training. I found the best success when I do that like traditional split, that body part split with weight training, where I focus like on upper body pull, upper body push, lower body pull, lower body push. That way I can really hone in on those specific type of exercises. So starting this next month, I'm going to be switching back to that after my Pilates experiment and then adding in just that 1 day per week of Pilates to balance out this whole routine. That way I can get all the benefits of weight training while also getting the core benefits of Pilates without having to spend quite so much money. But that's just my experience. It is important to remember that any type of exercise that pushes you just a little bit out of your comfort zone and challenges your body is going to have incredible benefits. And I'm not just saying this in like a woo-woo way, like do whatever you want. I'm serious. Like this will still show you incredible benefits regardless of what type of exercise you're doing, as long as it's balanced and as long as it's done in a way that supports your goals. So you could do the at-home workouts, you could do traditional strength training, you could do CrossFit, you could do Pilates, you could even do like yoga, especially if it's one of those like hot yogas with the weights, as long as it's challenging your body and you're always pushing yourself a little bit more, because it's in that area of just slightly feeling uncomfortable where we actually see the benefits of the workout. So choosing a workout that you're actually able to be consistent with, that is well structured, is the most important thing. And for me, that just happens to be traditional weight training. Now, something that can really help with exercise performance is creatine. And a couple years ago, I did a 60-day creatine experiment, and the results that I received were absolutely mind-blowing. So if you're curious about creatine, how to use it, and you want to check out my results, you can find that with this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed and delicious information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.